I'm good. How's it going?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us today. Really appreciate it. How are you feeling today after watching everything back from last night?
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting of an experience to watch yourself be so vulnerable on national television.
Right.
Um, so I'm okay. I'm doing okay. It's definitely a unique experience, that's for sure.
Of which most of us will never go through. So hats off to you for dealing with that. Give us a sense of what was happening before you went to trouble, because it's obviously you had no idea what the machinations of what was going on behind your back.
Yeah. My nervousness about the vote came from thinking that Andy was going to use his shot in the dark, and we've seen it
Right.
that it worked successfully. And so that is what me and Rachel were like worrying about the whole entire time. We're like, do we try to lie to Andy to make because and we had a debate that wasn't shown in there. We were like,
Right.
is it worth feeding him something to make it seem like he, could be safe? Or do we just keep it quiet and just assume it's not going to hit or assume he's not going to play it or whatever it may be.
Right.
We went back and forth a ton of times. Um, and obviously Rachel has idea. We're like, you know what, let's run with it. Let's do it. We
Yeah.
see that Andy feels as if he's kind of set us up to do that. Um, and then when I see my first name, the first name written down, I'm like, okay, I knew from the first challenge my name was being thrown out. Sam had told me right before. And again, he was working with me as an alliance member. So I feel like I can trust Sam. He's the one who told me that my name was getting thrown out. When I
Right.
see the first name, it's assumed. I'm like, okay. When I see the second name, I think I go completely black. I have no idea. It's utter shock. And I obviously realize what happens being a fan of the show and seeing how the name, like the votes come out. I realize it's me going home and I just maybe I was too confident in my alliance members. I felt really really solid. We kept on calling ourselves the Reba 4. We had multiple conversations locking it in. It's not that I didn't have those, conversations.
Yeah.
Um and so I mean I did. I got. They got me before, I could have made it with them.
Now,
So
Now, obviously, they revealed to you what was going on. Who did you feel most betrayed by? Was it the entire group, or was there specific people that you felt, really led to your demise?
in the moment, it was definitely Sam. Like
Right.
the way he shot his hand up so quickly, you see me immediately cry, and it was definitely because I saw Sam smile and his hand shoot up so quickly when I confront them. It was one I asked the question too because I was so confused. Like, how did this
Right.
happen? Who was a part of it? And it really is because me and Sam's relationship out there, I thought was so solid. As I got to know him more, I felt that he was someone who I could really trust and get to know. And we were building our relationship together. And as he got to know me, it seems like he was more threatened by me and who I was as a person. And so I think that's a really interesting dynamic to now watch back. However, watching it back, I think I feel the most betrayed by Sierra. And that is because um, I didn't know that she had known since like episode 2 that
Mhm.
my name was on the chopping block. I
Yeah.
got no warning. I got no sense. Unlike we see on Lavo and Tuku, everyone's talking to everyone about any of the votes. That did not happen at Gata at all. Me and Rachel had no idea, literally none. And even more, they were so much talk about how much they didn't like Andy. Like
Yeah.
that was not put on the show as much as we heard it. Like we felt so solidified in Andy being the next vote based on how much Sam was frustrated with Andy as well, based on how much Sierra was like, I can't work with him. And so I'm like, if you're telling me you can't work with them, I feel pretty solid, right?
Right. Right. Now,
Yeah.
again, you've told us a little bit about some of your relationship with Sam that we didn't necessarily see. What was your relationship going out with him? Because you seem what we see on the show is that you're butting heads, but you're saying that actually you were really close with him.
I mean, if you see it, we run every single challenge together. We find the idol together. We are in every single conversation. I'm the one sitting next to him, hyping him up next to the rap battle. I'm the one asking about his favorite fruits and vegetables. And I really do think like the bickering started, and in my mind, it was very brother sisterly.
Right.
Um, and when you're hangry out there and when you're frustrated and when you can't sleep, like it just happens naturally when you're trying to like live in camp. But it started on the second challenge where it's Sam in the middle, Sierra and me on the one side, and we're, using the ropes. And again, it wasn't shown how much he was yelling at us and down to us like in the challenge. And so he's like, oh, Sierra, whatever, do this, do this. And that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. And so I start getting frustrated saying like, I just don't like being spoken down to like that.
Right.
And he did, though. He apologized. Like,
Oh, wow.
again, that wasn't shown. And so afterwards, I took that very genuinely. And I can understand and empathize that people, he wanted to win. And we get angry out there. We get hangry, and I get it. And then when I called his name out saying Samuel, I talked to him, hey, by the way, so sorry I did that. Like, I am like, it was early in the morning, like, whoa.
Right, right.
And we had a lot of moments that were like level set with each other. So again, in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, but in Sam's mind, basically, he is already considering me a threat. So any of these little moments he's using as more ammo versus me, I'm seeing him as alliance partner. So any of these moments, I'm like, oh, we're solid. Like it's just brother, sister, it's whatever. So it was two completely different perceptions of what was happening. And in the edit, we do see it from Sam's perspective and not mine.
Right. So watching everything back now, what most surprised you about the things you weren't aware of or didn't see that were going on?
Mainly it was Sierra.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't know that my name was thrown out so early. I
Right.
didn't know that Sierra was in the know. I didn't know she played the middle as much as she did,
Right.
because the way she came to me and Rachel was like, please tell me we're okay. Like it was a little bit more, um, a little bit more tearjerker.
Right. Right.
It had emotion behind it. It almost seemed like she was so scared for her game, and we were the ones prompted to reassure her that we're solid. It wasn't like, are we down to work together? It wasn't as more strategic. It was very emotional. And I do think most of it was genuine, though. I think she was in between, working
Right.
with the women or working with Sam. And I think it came down to the fact that I didn't have my vote. So there was not much that she could do. I didn't have my vote. And then also, I don't think it plays a huge part, but I think she thinks it plays a part
Right.
that Sam had an idol.
Yeah.
Like, I think at the end of the day, she could have fought harder if she believed that I was better for her game. But Sam won that conversation, similarly to how Sam won the conversation of us taking John out.
Right. Now, one thing we see a bit this morning when people are talking about last night's episode is the whole chicken thing. Tell us a bit about what was going on, because some people are saying like, they didn't kill it because they didn't know how to prepare it.
Yes.
Some were saying, some were saying that, oh, it was just, because we've seen in previous survivors that, when they give them that option, they have a vote and so
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what happened, because I find that fascinating.
I wasn't anti-killing the chicken, but I was
Right.
aware that Sam and Andy are going to kill the chicken and they're going to hand it to me to they have to cook, to cut with my dull machete. I don't have a cutting board. I'm going to get salmonella with all the chicken blood on my hands. I don't have soap and water. Our fire is not strong enough. And all the
Oh,
guts have to be far enough from camp so that there's no bugs that,
right.
eat us at night. And I'm thinking through all of this and I'm like, huh, that's fascinating. I know that the sun is setting. I do not know if we can accomplish this in the time that is needed. And we cannot be the first tribe to kill a chicken and not cook it successfully. So that was going through my head,
Yeah.
knowing that maybe I was going to have to be the one put up to the task. So I'm happy we didn't kill it. And I'm the one who suggested to them, let's do a negotiation. And
Yeah.
Sierra loved that idea and ran with it.
Now, I asked this of all the survivors, so we only get to see like a small portion of your journey out there. Is there anything that, whether it was a particular strategic moment or a bond, or was there anything that you wish people would have saw about your journey?
I obviously all of my relationships, like me, the relationship between me and John, obviously I would have loved to see how tight me and Rachel were. Like I don't think for once we ever see me have the conversation with Rachel saying we're locking in number ones. We
Right.
don't get to see me have one-on-one conversations with Sierra and getting really tight with her. And then also we don't get to see me consoling Sam saying, hey, like we are solid. Like it does not matter that you're one guy in a group of girls. Like we are solid. Obviously he doesn't believe me, and I probably could have done more to reassure him, but I felt so solid about it. And then in terms of going on the journey, it was originally Rachel who was supposed to go on the journey, and we had discussed that. But because of what we're calling Ricegate, she had asked me, can you go instead? Because I'm a little bit worried about my perception in front of the whole entire cast now that this just happened. They don't want,
Right.
and she's my number one. So I don't want her to have that perception either. So I go and I run it by Sierra Sam. I'm like, it seems like I volunteer, but it's actually a long discussion of us preparing, saying, hey, if there's a journey, like who's going? Am I like basically like who should go? And it is suggested that I go in this group of four. So it makes it seem like we hear Sam say, I don't want Anika to go, but he never prompted Sierra to go. He never, there was no other, and it felt solid because we were a group of four. So I volunteered to go when it was already planned. And I know I'm just really upset that it was so unlucky. It was just a game of chance. I wish it was a puzzle or a task that I could have
Well, I
gotten.
was just going to ask, do you regret going?
Um, I I do regret going because I think it would have one, I would have had my vote. I think that would have changed the dynamics. I think two, we see how the Survivor game of telephone really bites me in my shoots. I shoot my own foot. Basically, it's unfortunate because when you go out on a journey, I don't know if we've seen this before, where it circles all the way back around
Mm.
to have an input into someone going home from a journey. I just can't believe that it traveled from my journey back to the Tuku camp, back to Sam to get me out. Like that's watching that was crazy because when I left the island, I had no idea that had even happened. Like I had to hear it and watch it back. Um so again, that was crazy for me.
Well, thanks again for taking the time to talk to us. You were many people's favorites going in, so maybe your survivor journey isn't over just yet. Maybe there's some redemption on the horizon. You never know. But
Crossing my fingers.
but all the best of luck to you, and can't wait to see you on the finale, Annika.
Thank you so much, John.